Hey, Tracy Lewis from Stuff and Things. It is Paper Pumpkin Day a day early, and we are in a snowstorm in Sierra Vista. I'm not going to be able to drive, well, since I'm the driver today, so I thought I would just video the paper pumpkin sitting up in its spot. And then I'm going to drive home, which is only a minute away, and get to Paper Pumpkin Day. Stay tuned. Alright, I am home and I am ready to do a quick unboxing and get right to creating the project. I do know enough that this month I believe is cards, so let's just check it out. In March, which is the 6th anniversary, or 6-year birthday for Paper Pumpkin, you're going to get a free stamp set in every box. I've read through this and I believe it means a duplicate stamp set. So you get 2 stamp sets that are the same, I believe, and that way you can give it to a friend to show them how cool the Paper Pumpkin stamps are. Fresh fig. Let's see, lots of stamps this time, lots of decorative stamps. So you've got some stars, diamonds, pluses, succulents in the cup. I actually watched the video for this and knew it was going to be succulents. You're the reason I smiled today. Be kinder to yourself and let your kindness flood the world. Thank you, a giant you. Can do incredible things. Life is tough, but so are you. Are beautiful. And are wonderful. So there you go. We get 3 different card designs. It looks like they're photography, which is unusual. I don't think in the time I've done Paper Pumpkin, which is almost 2 years now, I've seen photography in the mix. So I'm torn, since you get 3 of each card, I might only make 1 of the basic designs per the rules, the instructions, and then I will get to work on alternatives, which is of course my real goal. It looks like white and black baker's twine, shiny enamel dots, kind of look like the raindrop style. And the dimensionals and the double-sided dots. Very thick vellum. Wow, super thick. 3 vellums. That's something. I've never felt vellum that thick. Envelopes. Dark gray cardstock. And it's like a matte photography finish. Three different designs. The card bases are different. There's 3 with a very petite pattern. 3 with lines. We have die cuts, 2 sheets, and the 3rd are black card bases. So I am going to get organized and get going on. I'll come back for the 1 card design, and then I will go away and contemplate alternatives. All right, I'm back, and I decided to create the striped card. I have it adhered the photography to the front, and then I built up the component for the sentiment using the 3 parts that they show. And then I think I had to divert a little bit. It's basically the sentiment over the fresh fig, and then underneath it is the green. They show a bow just getting tacked onto the front here on the bottom right, and I did it a little different. I'll show you. I went ahead and looped the black around the granny apple green, if that is the color that it is, and then made my bow. So I've added dimensionals, and I'm going to apply them. Oops, upside down. Then the final step after the sentiment here is to add 3 of these little guys. All right, so that is the card following the instructions almost, and now I'm going to go away and contemplate. There's some color changes maybe. I'm going to look at using some maybe stitched dies, and of course most of the time I end up changing from what I'm saying, but this is just my initial thoughts. There's the dark green I could possibly do with like the subtle embossing folder. Definitely with the 3 card base variations, the stripes could be cut, the photographs could be cut into thirds or squares, and then there's all sorts of shapes here for sentiments to be applied. So there's all sorts of things going through my head. There's also the white baker's twine and the black, and how I could shake those up. So I'm going to go away, come up with some ideas, and then I will be back. There's also, we can't forget, the stamp set is huge, and there's the teacup with a succulent in it that just begs to be colored with blends, and some larger sentiments that would be nice cut out, maybe with a stitched die of some variety. All right, so stay tuned for me to come back with some alternatives. Hey, I'm back with 4 alternatives. I will have to say that making cards out of photography is not in my wheelhouse at all. So I thought it would be fun to try to stretch myself and do some things a little different than I would normally do. The first project is my casual stampers project, and it is more along the lines of something that I would do. And it's very simple. I took the designed patterned cardstock, cut it in half, and then I took and stamped in the fresh fig on the photographed image, and then I tore it. So this is probably the closest to something that I would do. From here I would put possibly the drops and perhaps I couldn't really figure out a good place for the baker's twine. It would be the white baker's twine, and perhaps it would just be a bow attached directly. I also had a hard time thinking of any other stamping that I would do, like with the pattern, the pluses, and so I did not do any of those things. So I still have to mull this over a little bit, get it put on the pattern, decide if I'm going to trim down this pattern a little bit and put it on a white base or even a dark gray base. But this one is closest to something I would do. The next one that I was working on, I'm going to show you these because all three of these are totally not in my comfort zone. The first thing I want to show you is this one will go on the black base. I'm going to use this photography. So to not waste the middle of the photography, because I'm just using it as a big mat, I cut out the middle. So that's where we're starting with here. And then I created a layer. I did use stitched all around, and I used 3 pieces from Stitched All Around, the tiny heart, the pattern that you see on the black and white, and what you'll see in a moment, which is the large label. I also used, and I don't have it here, it's sitting over across the room, the stitched rectangles. So I created a little layer here. It's a middle layer. I'll probably cut these off, and it is going to be placed over the top like so. And then my final layer, which I was pretty proud of, it's something I've seen done on Pinterest, and I really wanted to make something with it, and I'd never done it. So I tore out the middle of the Fresh Fig large label, and then I stamped on that thick vellum in the Fresh Fig, and then I like that it's "You're the reason I smiled today," and then I'm thanking them. I think that's a great set of sentiments. So this will be all put together, and the white trimmed off with a few of these, and then I have floating around, I trimmed off part of the thank you. It actually is a very long fishtail. So I took the extra piece that I had cut off and I made a heart. So whether or not I add that heart, I'm not sure, but I have it. And I also cut a granny apple green heart just for giggles to see if it goes with anything. Not sure. So I need to assemble this. The third card, I'd say, stretches even further from my norm. I've got it all started here. I noticed that the stitched rectangles had a set of 3, because this had to be a triptych, because it's the image here that spells out the word "you." I trimmed it into equal sizes, and then I noticed by having the gray rectangles as a mat with the stitching, they fit perfectly on this base. So they're attached to the base, and I was going to finish this with you guys and show you what I did with the sentiment. So this is definitely something I have never done. I don't even think in the card making world having a triptych like this with 3 different pieces, but that they all touch and they all line up, I don't think that that is quite the norm. So we'll get this attached, and then I'll add the sentiment the way I envision it. I think it's going to have white baker's twine. So that is what that looks like, and I thought that looked really cute. The sentiment is right here. I should show you what my original plan was. I wanted to have this, but it didn't really tie in well enough. And since I was on a roll with the rectangles, I did one more rectangle. And that's what this looks like here. It's a very structured, regimented looking card. Definitely not, as I said, the norm for me. And then I have not done the twine yet. I think I'm going to need a pretty long piece. And I think they call out 18 inches if you're going to wrap it around. So let's see. Today we're having snow down in southern Arizona. It's a higher elevation. And I do have problematic hands, and I noticed today as I was working on this stuff that my hands were stiff. And so we'll see if I'm going to be able to make a bow in a reasonable time frame. I'm thinking the bow will be over on this side. Even if I have to go away and clean it up, tighten it up. This is kind of what I had in mind. And then I'll snug it up and maybe slide it over. So that is card number 3. And then card number 4. I haven't decided if I want it on a black base or a white base, but I have a black one right here. So let's set this, build this up on black. I have yet to do with the rectangles, and I owned the stitched rectangles forever, different brands. I owned 3 different packages of them, different kinds. And one of them was the stitched inside and out, and I could have done the frame here, but I had not done the frame. So with the extra succulent photograph, the inside of here, I took it and I plan on putting it in the middle of this frame. And then I like the large sentiment here, and I did it with the oval layering ovals. I don't see a good place for a bow. I do see where I could do that if I wanted to, just for a little fun add-on. And then of course the drops. So those are my 4 cards. I'm going to go away and get them put together quickly, come back, and we'll do a final reveal of the 4 alternatives. Okay, so the first one that I showed you, I ended up adding a 3rd layer. I added basic gray and I tore it, and then I popped up the top layer and added the green heart and the little drops. I'll have you know I did 2 verticals and 2 horizontals. Usually I'm not good at getting horizontals done. So that was the first one. The second one, I believe, was the U, and I got my twine tight enough. I added the dots, and I just think it looks very different and very, very doable. Maybe not my favorite, but certainly turned out better than I had expected. This one's probably my favorite. I like all the layers and the tearing of this, the dimensions that you get out of it, and all of the layers and the black and white stripes with the stitching. I just really like it. Lots going on there. And this, I think, is very traditional looking, and I added the light colored heart to it for a little more interest, since I can't think of a good place to put any twine or anything like that. I added the dot on the eye for kindness, and then just a couple more dots for interest. And those are my 4 alternatives. Now what's interesting is, for those of you who know me, you probably are saying, oh my goodness, she did not color the cup with the succulent in it. That I wanted to do right off, and I said, nope, I'm not going to let myself do it. So that will be alternative number 5. I even brought out my Copics. There they are, ready to go in the soft seafoam and mint macaron and crumb cake. So I did have my pens out, ready to go, and decided I was going to make myself stay away from my comfort zone, and I made 4 cards and they all came out really good. It was a lot of fun. I really like this kit. I have had my doubts because of the photography aspect of it and not having worked with photography. My husband, in fact, the first thing he said when he saw the contents of the kit was, it looks like it's for scrapbooking. So I'm glad that I was able to make 4 nice cards out of it, and I think that there's still many more nice cards left in the kit. I was able to conserve a lot of the materials and save by cutting out the insides, as I showed you guys. I used, as I said, for side materials, I used 1 piece of fresh fig, and I used mainly the die cuts. So these are all the materials that come with the kit, and the 3 black bases. And I did put behind, because I wanted to conserve material, I took this full piece of card base, cut it in half so that I still have 2.5 pieces. Well, I used it 1/2 there, so I have two full card bases left of that material. So I still have quite a bit of materials left to make a lot more cards, which is what I like to do. I hope you enjoyed my alternatives this month, and thanks for watching.